Hey guys, just me checking in with you here on Friday. What is it, the 16th, I think, maybe? Um, Something not real good with me, but that pales in comparison to one thing I want to talk about. So, first of all, hope you all have a good weekend. And just an update for you guys. This is very bizarre to me and unfortunate. Um, you're good, honey. Before I left on the journey, I had bought a laptop. I didn't have a lot of money, so I bought kind of refurbished or used laptop that I planned on bringing on me and taping on the journey the whole way. But the very first day it was too heavy. I jettisoned it. And when I got home, I utilized it, I used it, and that's what I'm writing the book on. And I literally have put nothing on it except to write, how you doing, buddy? Was to write the book in the office called Libre Office. So I've been doing. Well, as you know, I started a new job, which has been putting in some long hours. I'm a little bit wiped out from that right now. And I don't have my computer for them yet, so instead of looking at my phone for the apps that we use, I brought my computer this morning into the office. And yet when I went in, it essentially crashed with this virus or some kind of debacle going on, and I can't retrieve anything. And it's very disheartening and alarming right now because I've got 9 chapters of the book done and a lot of time invested, and I can't seem to get onto it. I took it to a troubleshooter. They're trying different things, but as of now, I don't know until I get back from this weekend. So if any of you guys have any idea about computers or know how to fix or blow out a virus or something, I have to recapture the book. Otherwise, I'll be really behind the 8 ball. So on that note, it's Friday afternoon. You might have heard me talking to my daughter a moment ago. Waiting for my son, and we're going to head up to see Grandma this weekend. So I was hoping to spend, while Grandma's visiting with the kids, a lot of time, writing another chapter of the book. It looks like that's going to be a little bit more difficult to do right now. So Friday, but it's going to be a quick hit and run up to New England. Friday, get up there late tonight. Saturday, leave Sunday late morning, get back home. Let the kids see their mom, and then I'll be right back to it. And then tomorrow, Monday, for the industry I'm in, is a peak season because we're starting with Thanksgiving week. And so I'm going to be very busy with that. So I'm just going to keep busy. I just want to give you guys an update. But again, the book is still a priority. I'm just very disheartened right now by the fact of the computer crashing. And again, I didn't have my kids didn't install an app. They didn't install a game. They didn't touch it. I don't know why I left my living room this morning at 3 o'clock in the morning. And by the time I got to the warehouse at 4:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, it wasn't functioning. So it just really puzzles me. Anyway, so 2 things I want to talk about. That one is I'm really pretty happy to share a story with you guys, and then one is just so despicable, it's absurd. I don't know how many of you have seen it, but so anyway, the first one, if you had seen while I was on the journey, we had a couple of crazy lottery jackpots. $1.6 billion, I think, at one point or something like that, and anyway, I think a woman from Iowa, a single mom, I think, won one of the mega jackpots. And it was, again, you always talk about doing good with things. And this hits home with me only because, part of my journey was hoping to raise money for a couple of charities, one of them being Disabled American Veterans. Well, she won this money, and if I saw it right, she was on the Ellen DeGeneres show, and she gave a large $500,000 donation to, I'm not sure which veterans charity it was, but it's just good to see somebody that's doing something with that kind of fortune and blessing. So I really kudos to that woman for doing that, and hopefully she'll continue being philanthropic as she goes about her life with it. And here comes somebody honking a horn. And then the other part that is beyond despicable was, if you guys heard the story, again, if I read it properly, last year the story went that some woman ran out of gas in Philadelphia, and it was some homeless gentleman that gave up his last $20. Some retired vet that was homeless had given up his last $20, and her and her husband or fiance created a GoFundMe page to raise money for him, and they raised $400,000, and for what a good charity, what a good deed, what a heartwarming story. And you really just talk about pieces of trash. As it turns out, then it got into a point where this homeless person was suing them, saying he didn't have his money, or he only got $75,000 of the money, and they went to court over it. Well, now it turns out that investigators, I apologize for the background noise, I'm outside here at my kid's bus stop here, waiting to grab my son. Now as it turns out, it seems that this woman and her fiance husband and this homeless guy concocted this whole story together. Apparently they were gamblers down in Atlantic City, as well as some other things. They had 600 and some odd emails about how they couldn't manage their money and their debt, and they had seen this guy a month earlier, and they hatched this plot, and they duped everybody. And it's just, you think about, again, I took a walk to restore my faith in humanity, and I could take 100 steps forward, and these pieces of trash can knock that all back with one fell swoop. In fact, one of the chapters of the book was something, or the second book is called what I call the $25 fear. And essentially, I had kind of laid out on a couple of, that's beautiful, honey, laid out on a couple of the my journey trips that if we all donated just $5, I'm just a simple guy with a couple thousand followers, but if we all just donated $5 and asked one person a week to join us and do the same, thank you, honey bun, we'd be able to raise like $150,000 or $300,000, $150,000 each for the two charities. And I mean, what's the harm in that? And some people were talking to me like, other people just don't trust anybody. They're cynical. They don't want to be fooled. And I said, you know what? If the worst thing you do is get jacked up for $25, if that's the worst, the duping you get to risk being part of something amazing, how crazy is that? And then I hear a story like this, and I see it. I guess I can understand why people are hesitant when you hear about something like this. It's just, and from what I understand, the police were saying they would have gotten away with it had it not gone public, because they didn't share the money with this homeless guy, and he ended up suing them, and that's what triggered this whole thing, the investigation, I guess. So, just really, you think about that. People do give. People did care. It was a great story. And it was just a bunch of shysters, the three of them. So that's just deplorable. I mean, really, when you prey on the public like that, that's as bad as, when a storm comes and you got these people coming around and knocking on doors and taking cash money because they're there to repair storm-ravaged areas, and they take the cash and run. Really, and I'm trying to kind of bite my tongue right now and not drop a few four-letter words, but man, it's just, as much as I'm proud to be able to highlight on my journey some of the amazing people out there, and that people are genuinely good, you read about stuff like that, and it just leaves you shaking your head. So I'm going to grab my son. We're going to head up to Massachusetts and go see Grandma. I'm watching my daughter run through snow, so her feet could be soaking wet for a 6-hour drive or 7-hour drive. That's perfect. Welcome to my world. And anyway, all right, guys, have a great weekend. I'll try to talk to you over the weekend. Please, if anybody knows anything about computers, I can share. Maybe I'll post it to my website. There was a YouTube video handling there's one specific error message, but I couldn't even get to that. And I guess I took it up to before I left, I took it up to a troubleshooter, and this guy was running a bunch of different diagnostics, and 45 minutes later he was still doing it. And at this point, I don't really care about the computer. I don't care that it's a hunk of garbage. I didn't jump drive it. I didn't email as I was going, because literally it was just sitting on my writing desk at home, and I was just writing away and hitting save and adding to the book every day or every time I sat down to write. And I would really, I've I'm only 9 chapters in, but as you heard me the other day, I think I wrote for 6 straight hours and only got 3 days of the journey done. So I've already covered about 10, 11 weeks when all is said and done. So that would really be disheartening. But anyway, that's a me problem, not a you problem. Love you guys. Thanks for following. Have yourselves a great weekend. Stay tuned, hang in there, and looking forward to going to see my mom and having the kids see Grandma. So I love you guys. Have a great weekend.